My name is Christina Maguire, and I'm a potter and a soft pastel artist. Years ago when I was in the Netherlands, I went to, it was like a theme park, and there were all little cabins and fallow deer all running around all over the place, and it was a forested park. And in these little cabins were traditional craft, and you could go into whichever cabin you wanted to try the craft out. So I had done that, I think it was about maybe 95 or 96, and I made a ceramic plate. And then I went back about 2 weeks later to collect it, and I took it back to Canada with me. And I said, oh, I love doing that, it's so tactile. I lived in the middle of nowhere in Canada, in a rural area, so there weren't any places around me that I could take lessons or anything like that, or any open community workshops or centers. So I just kind of forgot about it, I think. And then my husband passed away in 2019, and I sort of just put myself, I was working in the factory then, and I just sort of put myself into manic hours working. And then after about a year and a half, I just said I need to do something different that I really enjoy doing. And I went online to Mayo College to see what kind of sort of hobby classes they had. And they had a level 6 creative ceramics course. And the hours that I was working at the factory, my shift, it enabled me to go to this course. So I did that in the fall of 21, and I had a brilliant tutor. Her name is Kat Slater. And so I graduated then from that in the fall, or November, I think it was, of 2022. And then I just started making bits and pieces at home, and I didn't have a kiln at the time. So Kat said if I wanted to go down and I could teach some of the students, she does hand building, if I could help some of the students with the wheel, that I could use the kiln. So it was kind of like a trade-off. So I did that for that semester. And then shortly thereafter, I bought my kiln, and I've been making ceramics since then. And I used to be told all the time to stop dreaming that that art was, you know, for fancy pants, and I needed to get a real job and make money, because I would never be able to make a living doing art or, you know, any kind of artistic endeavor. And I was adopted. So then, just before 2018, Christmas 2018, I received a DNA test kit as a Christmas present. And so I did that. And since then, long story short, I found out that one of my biological great-grandfathers left here and went to England as a potter. And yeah, and it was just so interesting. I just couldn't believe it. I was over the moon, you know? And I've been doing family research for so long, so of course I ran upstairs to tell my family, and they're like, yeah, okay, pass the milk, you know? But anyway, my tutor was excited about it as well. She said that one of the universities had done studies on genetic memory. So maybe I get it from him. I love playing in mud. I just do. I like working with the earth. I find it really grounding. And, you know, if you're having any kind of worries, or say you're feeling out of sorts about something or anything like that, if I go out and I just start working with clay or digging clay up to process it, or even just processing it, it just transports me to another place. and I'm happy out, yeah, with my hands in mud. I would say probably in clay it would be the piece that I didn't follow any pattern, I just coil built it, and I made a lot of mistakes with it. When it was greenware, I broke the handle off of it, moving it to do something to it. The handle snapped off of it. So I had to teach myself how to make a cane and copper wire handle. And it's that teapot right up there on top of the cabinet. Everybody said it shaped like an Aladdin's lamp. So, so many people have admired that teapot and offered to purchase it, but I'm never selling it because it's just, it just shows you that when mistakes happen, you know, they can have such a good outcome, you know, and you can learn so much from them. And I'll never get rid of that, because every time I look at it, I think, wow, you look so beautiful now compared to what you looked like when you were in pieces. So I was raised in a time, right, where, you know, now they have like all the upcycling and recycling depots, and, you know, it's really all these new words for it, and, you know, eco-conscious and all these things. So I was raised in a time where that was just the natural thing to do. You know, if something broke, you fixed it, and you might not use the same original pieces that were on it. Or if you had to use some kind of material to fix something, you just found it. And I was raised mostly on farms, so there was a lot of that went on. So, you know, you could use wire for any number of solutions, you know, to holding up a tailpipe, or, you know, like mending a bird cage. So, you know, it's you have to think outside the box. And I think that in today's day and age, there's not as much of that going on anymore, or perhaps they're being creative in a different way than what we were, more technologically creative, but not in nature, or not, you know, making do with what you have, and maybe putting two pieces of something together to make one new piece. I just had a conversation actually with a couple of my friends about this, because we were in a restaurant and there was a table of 8 teenagers, and they were all having dinner, and I watched them for about 20 minutes and no one spoke to each other. They were like this, eating their food and looking at their phones and scrolling and eating their food. And I said, that's a pity, because perhaps they've learned a way to communicate online, but they're not open to, you know, one-to-one communication, speaking to each other and sharing stories or thoughts, or, you know, what they're going to do next weekend, or, you know, it's all just sent in texts now. So I find that really sad, because my children, when they were teenagers, they weren't allowed to bring their phones, or well, actually, they didn't really have phones until they were in their 20s, but they still, in their 20s, when they were at my house for dinner, they weren't allowed to bring their phones to the table. We had to have a conversation of what our day was about. So now I see small children and everything having tablets, and, you know, young kids having phones, and I just hope that they find a way to still interact with each other. And we're really lucky here in the schools and things like that. I know in Canada they still have sports and things, but the sport here seems so much more widespread with so many kids interested that there's lots of camaraderie, and they learn discipline playing sports as well and make all kinds of friends and enjoy each other, so I hope that continues. All these knockoffs from all these Asian companies, all these Asian companies that are making all of these knockoff pieces that are really cheap, or they're cheap, but they're also inexpensive. So they're not made to the same quality as what a potter or a ceramicist would make. Obviously, they're factory pieces, and there probably has been that for many years in different ways, not just in the Asian market, but in big conglomerates and things like that. But I just think that when you're at a market and you've put so many hours into a piece, and maybe you've processed the clay for it, and you've hand painted it with underglaze, or you may have put engobe on and carved it, and then you had to sand it, and then you had to bisque fire it, and then you had to glaze it, and you had to fire it again, and all of the process that went into it. And you get a response like, well, I could buy 5 of those for that price in pennies. What do you say to that? Yes, you can, but this is handmade. It's not made on a factory line. And I can give you from start to finish what process this piece of pottery has gone through, and where it came from. And you can't buy Mayo clay pieces anywhere except here. I was in my late 50s when I enrolled in my ceramics course, and actually in one of the briefs we had to find a potter that greatly inspired us, and I wanted to try and find a Canadian potter. There's so many, and I discovered a lady that I hadn't known of previously, and her name was Mary Borgstrom, and she was 55 when she took her first pottery course, and she went on to have pieces invited into the Olympics in Montreal, and she has pieces in collections in Japan and in Alberta House in London. And she used to take a train and just go and see a place where she thought the clay looked good, and take her bucket and her spade with her and take the clay home, and she built a kiln in her backyard, and that's how she did it. So I mean, anything is possible. And there's ways for you to get into craft that aren't expensive, and it's such a joyful activity, and you end up with a product that you made with your own hands at the end of it, and there's nothing better than that.